Hi there everyone, welcome back. This is Katie Flowers and I'm speaking to you from my happy place, or welcome to my happy place, the Wilder Art Studio in Hong Kong. So wherever you are in the world, welcome here. And I'm a little bit excited today because look what I'm wearing. Yes, the Wilder Art apron has arrived. I'm obviously going to be offering them to all and sundry when they're allowed back into the studio. Right now I'm wearing my apron's experiencing not quite isolation, but it is just me and it today. Okay, and I'm going to continue chatting to you about your doodle/design practice. And I'm going to offer you some ways that while you're at home you can do a little bit of detective work. So you can see that in front of me, I've got some rather unusual items, and in just a moment, I'm going to be explaining how those are going to be relevant in your artwork. Okay, so welcome to my little collection of interesting items gathered in the last 2 minutes. So you can see I have the flowery dish, the circly dish, the spotty serviette, the spotty and stripy cup, the spiral and seaweedy looking cup, and, wait for it, pièce de résistance, the absolutely amazing tray. Love this tray. And of course, what do all these items have in common? They are covered in patterns. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking for so that we can inform our doodle practice and sort of expand and extend and build on the kind of mark making that we were doing last week. So I'm going to put these items aside just for a moment, and I will show you what I've been doing at home at Flowers Towers. So I also went around my house with my iPhone and I did a little pattern gathering. And as you can see, I've got the picnic bag, the floor, the cushion, the candle holder, the mint plant, the tray, the tie, the shirt, various shirts actually, the crossword puzzle, and a little shirt passed on the way into town today. So I have gathered all of those because I'm going to use them in my art. You don't have to put them in this kind of document. That was just because I wanted to bring this document with me to show you where you can go. Alternatively, you can get your item from home, and let's use the flowery plate, and you can either use the flowery plate in front of you, right, just like this, or you can make yourself a little viewfinder, which basically means getting a piece of card or paper, cutting a hole in it, and then sticking it on so that you isolate a little area that you would like to use. All of these things are options. They're not essential, and you will see now where we're going to go with that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my flowery plate. I'm going to get my paper. Now, if you remember last time, we chatted about paper from the computer. We chatted about having a little dedicated notebook. And I'm going to use a little bit of sketchbook paper today, just because I want to use some colours, and colours sometimes need paper that's a little bit more hardcore than just this sort of printing paper. Okay, so in the house I got a little collection of felt pens, and your collection of felt pens might look like this pencil pot here. Let's take those out. Those happen to be Sharpies. Let's see what we've got here. Those happen to be washable something or others. That's what we've got. And potentially somebody in your house may well have a pencil case that you can raid. Now, we can be very systematic about this. We can either do what we did last week, which is create our invitational spaces. Then we can start to make our pattern in here. Or how I quite like to do this is to make myself a little reference where I'm going to make some, I call these like little pattern collection points. Okay. I might switch pens. That's a little bit medium rare, that one. For what we're doing. So, now let's start off in black and white as an option. So it might be that I'm going to choose the little motif on my plate, and I might just decide to represent that in black and white only. All of this is for you to keep your design brain informed and gathering new ideas, because that's how you expand your art. Maybe I'm going to colour this a little bit here in. So because I happen to have chosen a very small surface, I'm probably only going to be able to fit a couple more fronds in, but you're going to get the general idea. Then, let's see, I don't know how this pen will work. This is more of a brushy kind of pen. Oh, okay, that's what's happening. But it is very, very nice, this pen, I must say. A bit hard to control, but very nice. And then I might use it in there. I might even expand this design a little bit and give it a touch of my own something or other. There it is. What a great colour that is. And last of all, too fat. Looking for something thin. Okay, just going to look for something thin. Here we go, the Sharpie. And then I'm going to make my little flower. And this is going to become a reference for something. I might use this later, I might use it tomorrow in something else. Or I might just spend some time this week collecting patterns in general. And there we go. There's another couple. Now again, even though I've taken this original idea from the plate, I could be embellishing it with my special own creative style and your own special creative style. I think one of the things that helps with this kind of technique is just constantly pushing yourself to find new ways to investigate pattern. That's all we're doing here. So expanding on the flower and giving it a few little spots along the way, it becomes a different flower. I've made it my own. I've personalised it. Ooh, and over here. I think I'm liking the colour one more than the black and white one. What do you think? So here is, and I bet you lots of you watching this have got one of these in your house, because this is the good old IKEA spotty serviette, which I think we got fairly recently, so you might recognise it. So looking at this spotty serviette, you can see there are three colours. So there's pale pink, there's pale blue, and a kind of a muddy blue. And pretty much all of the rows or lines are straight. And actually, when I started studying it, I realised there's also a kind of like little couple of overlapping spots there. So I took this serviette, where did I begin? This is where I began. And I started to use the three colours with a row of the blue, a half row, and also the kind of the muddy colour, and I was trying to get the blue to peep over just there. But as you can see, just taking those colours and just taking that motif of that little dot, we can stretch around and play with that. So here you can see I've shrunk the dot a little bit, and here you can see I've gone from small to bigger to bigger to bigger, and vice versa right here. And what I've been doing essentially is pushing my design brain. And here I've done a little random collection where I've mixed up the colours, and I've got 2 of the colours in one place. And here I decided to super enlarge. And here I decided to reconfigure in a whole different way. And now my design brain is calling me to play even a little bit more. What would happen if I took that pink spot and changed it into something else that was round but wasn't just a spot? And now I feel that, you know, maybe what would happen if I went diagonal? What would happen if, oopsie, what would happen if I added in some friends so that I'm still using the technique of repetition, which we spoke about last time round, but I'm repeating everything in a slightly different way. 3 colours again, expanding the idea. So I might take, let's see, maybe I'm going to continue. Oh, I couldn't help that. A little spiral emerged. It just came out. And in fact, here's 3 more. Okay, so instead of going down, I've gone across. And maybe what I want to do this time around is, and I've picked up a slightly lighter pink. Hey ho, that doesn't matter. Maybe I'm going to introduce the idea of overall spottiness, just based on my IKEA serviette, which you might have, as I say. Oh, didn't put the blue in that one, but that's all right. Now, even though it's made of spots, remember the spots go in rows. I might think about the idea of a row, but my row is not going to be made of spots. My row can be made of lines. So I'm using this as a starting point, but playing with the idea. What would happen if you just focused on rows? Well, then this is what would happen. And in fact, what would happen if you started combining lines and spots? Well, I don't know what would happen. Why don't we just see? Okay, now different things are happening. So just based on this idea and using, ask yourself this question every time. What would happen if? And just see where you can go with your designing. Ta-da! So here is my IKEA serviette with all its little rows and all its little dots, and voila! It led me into the path of all this different kind of designing. I will say I took a little bit of license on the pink and jazzed that up a bit, but hey, I'm the designer. That's okay. I can actually do what I want to do. I can just see a little space calling out right here. And that's what you can do too. Doesn't have to be complicated. Find a serviette, find a cup, find the crossword puzzle. Let's have a look again at our little pattern piece. An earring, bit of cushion, good old Hong Kong floor. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to use all of these. You just need to choose one. And then see what would happen if I did A, B, C or D. Okay, so I hope you have fun with those designs during this very special time that you've got on your hands that we're going to be using for a little bit of creativity. And I wanted to read you something before we say goodbye. Lovely Kate Allett sent this to me today, and it's beautiful. When you cease to fear your solitude, a new creativity awakens in you. Your forgotten or neglected wealth begins to reveal itself. You come home to yourself and you learn to rest within. Thoughts are our inner senses, infused with silence and solitude, and they bring out the mystery of inner landscape. So you can see this time as actually very precious. It's time for you. We're so busy being human doings that we don't always have time to be human beings. This is our time. So until we meet again, thank you very much and goodbye.